one brother that's injured here. He's got shrapnel in his abdomen. Okay, as you can see, got shrapnel in his leg. I put a tourniquet on to stop the bleeding. Shaks, where are we going, bro?
Just taking the hospital now, bro.
Okay, how far? How many minutes?
Just now, we're just in now.
Okay.
There's a jet tank. Can you hear the siren? That's another jet tank.
So another jet's come back around. We're quickly gonna try to drop this brother to the hospital and head back out. I mean, the one thing I want to emphasize to you, none of these brothers actually have paramedical training. They don't even know what they're doing. I'm the only skilled person here, but I don't even know how to operate these ambulances, to the point I don't even know how to take these beds out. As you will see, this is how we operate here. No one here has medical skills. I'm most probably the only person here with a bit of medical skills. I've done what I can to stabilize him on the scene. Now, these guys are going to take him in. This is a hospital in Idlib that was hit about 2 weeks ago. And now, alhamdulillah, it's back in operation, which is great. This person's going to need major abdominal surgery. We need to figure out how this works. As you can see, the brothers here don't really have much experience on working this thing. And we were struggling to get the patient in. The plane's back out, and you can see in the distance, the smoke is still rising from the previous one. Okay, let's go. Now we're gonna try head back in and try and catch. We really need to figure out how this thing works, because we are struggling using this. Okay. Okay. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Face the Truth. I am your host, Bilal Abdul Kareem, and we are in the city of Idlib. This place was hit just approximately 2.5 hours ago. There have been casualties. There was one woman who was killed. There was a young boy. I personally saw this myself. Airstrikes landed right here in this area. And I am here with my guest for this week, Dr. Shajul Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm going to have to apologize to everybody because of the noise that's around, but the reality is that a lot of the people here are just trying to secure their shops and to look after their livelihood. Now, I'd like to ask you, now you're a doctor. How long have you been here?
This time I've been here almost 5 months now.
So you've been here before?
I have been here in 2012, yes.
How do you compare what you saw in 2012 to what you're seeing now?
I think the biggest difference we find is that Assad has found himself some strong allies that have given him fighter jets. And the biggest difference I can see compared to 2012 when I was here is that he's using fighter jets to bomb the people on a daily basis.
So you didn't see that in 2012?
In 2012 it was mostly helicopters. We were seeing barrel balls being dropped from helicopters or gunships or, you know, that kind of thing, but not jets like this, no. It was very rare for jets to come out in 2012.
What about the scale of destruction that you're seeing? A couple of rockets landed just in this area. There's a huge crater right here. How do you compare the destruction that you saw in 2012 and the destruction that you're seeing now?
Well, the scale of the destruction now is magnificent. This is one airstrike. If you just look around us now, this is one missile that landed in this place. And I would estimate that it's taken out, I don't know, possibly 15 houses, possibly more. Would you agree? In the past, what we were seeing is mostly Howins and mortars and that kind of thing being used. Not huge missiles like this. So yes, definitely Assad has found himself some really strong allies that are putting all they can into killing the civilians of Syria.
Okay, now I want to talk about the medical sector. It's 2012, now it's 2016. What's changed?
Alhamdulillah, I think we have adapted a lot now to the war. The war has been going on for a long time. And alhamdulillah, we've been able to build medical facilities in ways where they are, how can I say, more resistant to the airstrikes. In the past, we found ourselves operating from houses, we were operating from basements in mosques. And this was the situation in 2012. I spent a bit of time in Telbisa in 2012. And at that time we was operating from a basement of a mosque. And we just kitted up some rooms underground and we were just working out from that. And so definitely it has improved in the sense of infrastructure. But one thing in 2012, we had international aid. We had doctors from abroad. I remember going to the MSF clinic in Atma in 2012. And, you know, it was a pleasure to see American doctors there. You know, very skilled American doctors.
This is 2012?
This is 2012,
Okay.
I would say June, July. We had the foreign doctors in here. We had foreign aid. Now we just don't have that. We don't have any foreign doctors I'm aware of that are here apart from myself. You know, Turkey has stopped all doctors coming in. We don't have any NGOs on the ground themselves personally delivering aid.
Now, you've made a bit of a call for doctors to come, foreign doctors, of course, or are you speaking about Syrian doctors coming back into Syria, or both?
I think anyone with medical skills should be here. Turkey has made it very difficult, and other countries that border Syria, for doctors to come in and help us. And that is a big struggle for us. You know, we are trying to train up anyone and everyone. What I found personally myself is that all the top doctors have left for Europe. I'll give you a case, a hospital I was working in. They had a consultant, I believe he was an orthopedic consultant. Just to keep him in this country, because they really needed him in the area, they were offering him a wage of $1,400 a month. That's a huge amount for the Syrian people. But this doctor found that he was able to get a lot more money in Germany, and so demanded a bit more money so he could stay here. And the hospital just couldn't afford it. There's a charity-run hospital. Funds were coming from abroad. Although the charity wasn't sending any doctors, they were paying the wages for the staff. And so this doctor left for Germany. Now he's a consultant in Germany because he gets more money. So this is what we found with all the skilled doctors. They've left for Europe because they're getting jobs in Europe, they're getting jobs in Turkey. And I guess they just got fed up of this war.
Now, as you can see, just so that we can help the people to understand something, today there were 6 or 7 airstrikes here in the city of Idlib. That's today. In the city of Sarakib, there were 8 airstrikes. That's today. And then you have Ariha, which was hit. I do not know how many was there. So when we're talking about 3 cities that are not that big, and we're seeing, and when we're adding up only 2 of them, we've got 14 airstrikes, not on villages, but on actual cities. How can the medical sector, with reduced staff, few operating rooms, how can they keep up with the demand? Now keep in mind, we're not talking, I want the people to understand something. We're not talking about a demand where we're bringing, we're talking about supplying of rice or chicken or noodles or something like that. We're talking about medical care where someone comes in bleeding, a limb might be missing, or they may be very, very ill. How do you keep up with the demand?
We are struggling to keep up with the demand, and we've had to adapt the way we operate because of the number of casualties we're getting. So our triaging system has had to evolve over time. And what we're doing now when we get mass casualties is we are assessing which patients can be transported further out. So we look at a patient and we see, could this patient survive a 1-hour journey to another hospital, because we just don't have the capability to keep him here. So we might, and as we do, stop severe bleeds and just get someone to take him to another hospital, an area that hasn't been hit, maybe a hospital near the border. And so this is what we're having to do, is we're having to, whichever patients we can move them on to another hospital, we move them on. And the patients that we can't move on, we try our best to do what we can. With limited operating tables, where most of these patients require urgent surgery, you know, we don't cope.
What do you need So, and I think it's important for people, you're looking at where we're filming from. There were real people that were here. There's real people that were killed. And those that were fortunate enough to survive, they need real medical care. So I think it's important for people who are watching to have an understanding. For you to be able to say, maybe we won't have everything that we need, but at least now we can start to tread water. What type of equipment do you need to be able to say that?
We found it.
I mean, the summarized version, but keep it so that the layman can understand
of
it.
course. The regime are using more sophisticated weaponry now. Okay. In the past few months, I've noticed the use of cluster weapons. Okay. And from these cluster weapons, we are getting patients with shrapnel, tiny shrapnels, all over their body, piercing them wherever you can think of. And for us to be able to assess these patients, for example, we need a CT scanner. We have very limited access.
What does a CT scanner do?
So a CT scanner, it gives us a 3D image of the body, and so we are able to assess where the shrapnel pieces have gone in, where there might be a bleed and so forth, which kind of help us to assess what kind of surgery to give the patient. It's very difficult to try to figure out where these tiny pieces of shrapnel have pierced just with an X-ray, for example. So, for example, in the freed area of Syria, we have 3 CT scanners. Okay.
In the entire
yes.
areas that are...
For a limited period of time, it was only 2 because the one down the road here was out of service because this hospital, as you know, was hit about 3 weeks ago. But, alhamdulillah, we've got that CT scanner working again. Although the hospital isn't fully up and running, the CT scanner is working, alhamdulillah. We've repaired it in the last few days. So we've got 3 CT scanners. And, even if we send a patient to this hospital for a CT scan, then this patient would have to go back to the hospital he came from for the operation. This is just crazy. Trying to do this, trying to move patients through roads like this when there's airstrikes landing. It's crazy.
So let's say that you don't have a CT scanner, and somebody comes in and they've got all of these pock marks all over their body. What do you do for them?
Well, we take our best guess as to what to do. If we feel that maybe from looking at some X-rays that maybe it's pierced him in the abdomen, and we suspect there's blood in the abdomen with ultrasound and so forth, we'll cut up the abdomen, we'll open the abdomen, and we'll do what we can. But it's just a lot of the time we're taking guesses. We don't even have a blood gas analyzer, so we don't have an electrolyte to assess the electrolyte status of a patient. So a lot of the time we are taking guesses what we think might be going on in a patient. We are unable to do a lot of blood tests. In the past week, I made a call out on Facebook for doctors to help us, and alhamdulillah, I got amazing response from Muslim and non-Muslim doctors who are helping me. But I find that some of the advice that's been given to me, they're telling me to do certain blood tests, like we just don't have access to it. It's not like before in the early days we was operating from field hospitals and so forth, but because this is we're in our 5th year in this conflict, we've had to it's become a norm. So we are trying to have actual hospitals running.
Proper hospitals.
Proper hospitals, yeah.
Okay, what does it, what does it cost to have I'm not going to say a proper hospital, because what people's definition of proper hospital is and what the definition of proper hospital here in Syria is, they're 2 different things.
Yeah.
So a semi-proper hospital, what does that cost?
Cost-wise, I couldn't really give you because I don't do the running of costs and so forth. But infrastructure-wise, I can give you an idea. Okay. We are having to dig down now, okay, because hospitals, as you know, are being targeted, okay, and so we are building majority of the newer hospitals that are being built underground, okay, and we are operating underground.
I think it's important for people to understand why you have to work underground. Why?
Because we have no doubt that Assad is deliberately targeting hospitals, okay. He is trying to take out schools, hospitals, everything that is needed to run a city, a country. And we are constantly under fear of our hospitals being destroyed. as we've seen in the past month, I don't know, about 8 hospitals have been hit. In the past month, they were talking about in the past month. So if you really look in the past 5 years, how many staff and how many hospitals have been destroyed, I mean, it's a huge amount. And so we are adapting to this. So what we are doing is we're building underground. I mean, there's a hospital that I'm currently working with, in about 5 months in operation, and they've had to build this and move everything underground, so most of our work is underground. We are trying to get whatever equipment we can, and there are some charities that are sending in equipment, and they are slowly coming through. But so that is our main priority now, is to get infrastructure, to be able to look after patients, get the equipment. But the most important of all is we need skilled people.
You need skilled people in order to come.
That's right.
Look, I'd like to ask you another question. Let's say that there's somebody watching, and it's normal. People out there may be watching this program, and then they say, okay, I'm a skilled physician. I want to come. Is there, what should they do? Should they be getting in contact with you? Is there an organization? Your Facebook page? I mean, what's the situation?
If I'm totally honest with you, right now, I don't even know what the solution to this is. I don't even know what I can advise them. But everywhere I go, everyone I'm speaking to try to figure out how I can bring doctors in. I'm just facing a brick wall.
You yourself didn't come by, I guess we would say, the traditional way, walking in, walking in normally. You, like several other doctors who were here, they had to sneak in.
Unfortunately, this is what's happened. And I know a lot of doctors won't be willing to make this kind of sacrifices I've had to make to come here. And I've had to, and this is an emphasis of the situation here. For me to be able to come and treat victims of this, I've had to enter the country smuggled in, under fire from the Turkish border police, who are shooting at people that are trying to come and help the Syrian people. And this is how bad the situation is.
Well, I think we're going to have to wrap this up, because it seems like they're going to be bringing the bulldozers to settle or to clean up the streets and everything. Look, we've got a few seconds.
Yeah.
If you've got anything that you would like to say to the people who are watching, you got a few seconds. Tell them what you want to say.
My main message is, look, there are civilians being hit. These are civilians. You look around you. We're not terrorists here. There is no terrorists here. Assad and his allies are hitting civilians, and we need anyone and everyone to help us, to help the civilians of Syria. This is my most important message to anyone watching this.
Okay. Look, I know you're busy, and I want to thank you for your time. I am Bilal Abdul Kareem for this episode of Face the Truth from a destroyed neighborhood here in the city of Idlib. Wa jazakum Allahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.